guys, it's Gina with Archangel Art Studio, and I'm testing out a couple products. So I am doing another Petri dish because the first product I want to test out is this pan. It is awesome. It is shiny inside and it's got a metal frame, so it's silicone, and see, it won't twist with a metal frame to keep it sturdy so it won't bend and get all wonky on you. So I love that, but I want to test it out to see if it actually makes a shiny product. And I'm testing out Liquid Diamonds casting resin. Now I'm going to show you, it already has 2 strikes for me, but it may be great resin, so I don't know. The first strike is the bottle's not full. It's brand new and you can see the bottle's not full. I ordered 2 bottles of this and 2 bottles of the hardener, and the hardener was full, but both of these bottles weren't. So that's kind of strange to me why they wouldn't fill a bottle up or make a smaller bottle. And the second thing is there are no instructions. There are none on the bottle. It didn't come with any instructions, nothing. So I don't know if they want you to mix it by volume or by weight. I'm assuming you still mix it 3 minutes, so I'm going to say you mix it by volume, and I'm going to mix it up. And one of the things, I read some reviews on it, they were talking about the consistency, that it's like water almost, and you have no bubbles virtually. So that's one of the things I wanted to check out. So it is a 2-to-1, so I'm going to mix 6 ounces of this, which is probably going to take the whole bottle, or most of it. And there we have 6. And yep, it took almost the whole bottle. And then 2 ounces of this. Right? Is that right? 3 ounces of this. Wow. That would have been bad. I'm really not illiterate, but sometimes when it comes to thinking about math, I'm like, okay, I'm not quite sure here. Let me figure this out. I should have figured it out before I got on camera, right? Alright, that bottle's done, because I had used some in something else that didn't do what I wanted it to do, so I didn't show you that. I was trying to make a glow-in-the-dark pyramid, and you have to mix in the glow-in-the-dark powder, so I couldn't tell if it had no bubbles really. So this is my Does It Have Bubbles experiment. And there we go. Is that, nope, not quite. Okay, there's my 2-to-1. And I know I've just did a video on a Petri dish, and you probably don't want to see another one, but this is the best way for me to tell about bubbles. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is really thin. I mean, you can tell it's resin because there's some strings in there, but not like most resins. I don't know if you can see how thin this is. So I think this will probably be pretty good for casting, because that's where you have so much trouble, is bubbles. Like the Petri dish I just did a video on looked gorgeous until you got down into it and you could see a ton of little micro bubbles. I mean, it was just crazy. And I thought I had popped them all with my heat gun. Obviously I had not. So, you can't put a piece like that out for sale because it's full of bubbles. So I just keep it for myself because I thought it was really pretty, and I don't see the bubbles if I'm not really looking for them, so I'm happy with it for me personally. But I'm amazed at how easy this is to mix and how thin. You know how sometimes when you're mixing resin, your hand gets tired because it's thick and you're digging and scraping? Not at all with this. I'm still scraping the bottom and scraping around the sides, but it's not giving me any grief, not giving me any problems stirring it. And I'm seeing just some small bubbles in there, but this is so thin, they say that the bubbles pop really easily. They rise to the top and you don't have to worry about them. So that's what I want to see. So I don't usually mix on camera, but I wanted you to see how thin this was and how easy it was to mix. So I don't know if it's been 3 minutes because I didn't time it. And there's no smell to this at all. It does say cures crystal clear and rigid like glass, extra low viscosity, resist moisture, heat, and yellowing. And that's all that's on the label. That's it. No directions whatsoever. So, okay, I'm going to let that sit for a minute and the bubbles rise to the top and pop out. And the colors I'm going to be using today are orange, sunset orange, and then mermaid, and then wild plum, and then lemonade, and I'm going to use villainous pearl. The pearls are very subtle, so I just wanted one in there just for some color and shimmer, but you can't use just pearls, I found out in my last Petri dish, because you won't see anything much. I mean, you will, but it's very, very light. Let's check this out. Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not. There's just some micro bubbles in there, very small. Nothing big. So what I'm going to do, and I've leveled this. Always make sure your stuff's level, especially Petri dishes, or you'll get, this thick on one end and this thick on the other, and it doesn't look good at all. So I'm going to pour this in. And then I'm going to use my heat gun just to pop out any bubbles. And I mixed more than I needed. I wanted to keep this thin, so note to self, you don't need 9 ounces. Probably 6 or 7 would do. But that's okay, I'm going to have a thicker Petri dish. So, wow. It's easy to get this all out of here too because it's so thin. And I haven't compared the price point on that yet. As with other resins, I'll do that though. And let you know. And now I'm going to just heat it up a little. I want to use my heat gun. That's blowing it too much. Where's my torch? There's my torch. Okay. mostly popped, but I'm going to give it a second. Yeah, let's just hit it one more time. And I don't want to get too close or stay in one place very long, because well, you'll scorch your resin and you can mess up your mold too. So always move quickly back and forth, up and down. Okay. Alright, to me it looks like it is bubble free. So we're going to get started. And I'm going to do something a little different today. I showed you with my last Petri dish, after every color, I would put white on top. Not this time. I'm going to put a couple colors and then white. And a couple colors and then white. And then I'm going to swirl it. I've got I don't know what they're technically called. When I was little, my mom always called them an orange stick. I don't know why, but you use them for manicures. But I'm going to swirl it around with that. And I want to wait and make sure all the bubbles are popped. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to show you something I've been working on. Some jewelry. I've been making these from acrylic skins, where Billy has been doing pours and the skin's dry, and I'm trying my hand at making jewelry. Pendants and necklaces and keychains, and I really, really like this. It's not too hard to do, and you get some cool looks. So I thought about doing a video on how I made these, but I didn't know if anybody would be interested in that. I didn't know if it'd be boring or what, so let me know if you'd like to see a video on how I make the jewelry out of skins. Tell me, and I'll do a video. Right, let's hit this with a torch one last time. Make sure all bubbles are out. And here we go. So I'm going to start with the pearl, and you got to shake it up really good because it settles on the bottom. And just go dropping it around. And I'm going to intentionally leave some clear spots because I want to be able to see through part of this to just see if I can see any bubbles or not. And if you color it completely, you'll never be able to see. So, wow, you can't even see that purple. It's so shimmery. So now we're going to go with some orange. And I watched a lot of videos from, I think it's Ariana Lukic. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She, to me, is like the queen of Petri dishes. She does some gorgeous ones. And you should check her out. I love her videos. She's where I get a lot of my inspiration and ideas and color combos. She's really good at putting colors together that look great. So, okay, I've done 3 colors, and now I'm going to do white. And always make sure you shake your white good, because if you don't, it's a mess. And then just go in and drop it over the top. And for those of you who don't know, the white is heavier than the other inks, so it helps push them down into the dish, so you get that 3D effect. It's just really cool. And I had asked on my last video if anybody knew how to get gold in your Petri dishes not to all float on the top and actually settle down in the piece. And I got some suggestions from a viewer, and I tried them. One of them was holding the gold up high and dropping it, Uh, that didn't work. It still stayed on the top and kind of ran to the middle. Another one was mixing it with a little bit of resin and then dropping it in, and that didn't really work either. It mixed with the resin, but it made it kind of, I don't know the word, stringy looking. So you really couldn't tell that it was gold. It was just really wispy and stringy. So the only one I haven't tried yet is putting it on the mold first and then pouring the resin on top. But I'm going to try that. I'm just a little apprehensive I'll mess up a mold. So I'm going to find a mold that I'm okay with messing up and give it a whirl. And this pearl kind of does like the gold does, I think. It pulls. So this is going to be my last layer of the pearl. It may look cool when it's in there, but I don't know if you can see how it kind of pulls up. And I like for the front of my Petri dishes to look pretty as well as the back. So yeah, there's that. And I did one that was just 2 colors, and I swirled them. But I added, what's it called? Glitter ink. Let me give you a word of advice. Leave glitter ink alone when it comes to resin. I couldn't find any videos on YouTube about glitter ink and resin, and now I know why. I put some glitter ink in this Petri dish, and oh my gosh, it would not dry. It sank to the bottom. I guess it's really heavy. And it sank, and when I took the dish out, the top had little dots all over it of this gold glitter ink that were just as wet as when I put them in. And 2 weeks later, they were still wet. You could pick it up and get glitter ink all over your hands. So that's why there are no videos on YouTube about glitter ink and resin, because it does not work. So I'm just letting you know. I don't know what it's used for. I think it's used for screen printing maybe, but it sure isn't used for resin. It is a mess. So, and my smart self bought like 7 bottles because I was like, wow, this would be cool. Yeah, I sent 7 bottles back for a refund. So that was my thing. I learned a lesson. If you can't find a video on YouTube, it's probably because it won't work. I wish more people would put out videos of their failures, you know, like I know somebody somewhere had to use glitter ink in resin and it made a big old mess, and I should have put the video out, but I didn't video doing it, the actual piece, so I couldn't video showing what a mess it was. But if I make a mess of something, a failure, and I video the process of doing it, I'm gonna show you the mess, failure, finish piece. So you'll know, hey, this doesn't work. Isn't that cool? I just love how that moves around. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more layer of each color. And then I'm going to swirl it, and then we're done. And then we'll come back in about 24 hours. And I'll pop it out and show you the finished piece. I made a couple videos lately and messed them up. Just not been in frame right, or had my head in the way, or recorded them on a different phone that would not download to my computer. And one of them had my grandson on it. He was so funny. He wanted to be out here when I was doing a piece. And he's like, "Can I be in the video, Nana?" And I was like, "I don't care." So he got in it and said a couple words, and then he likes to take a piece of finished art that I've done or something and pretend he's making art. And so he sat in the background on the floor, and everything I was doing he was mimicking, and I didn't realize it, and it was in the video because he was behind me, and it was so cute. And then I couldn't upload it to the computer, so we didn't get to see it. Alright, that's it. I'm going to call that finished, and I'm going to wait for it to kind of move around a little bit, and then I'm going to swirl it. And I wanted to thank everybody for the kind words and the prayers and the well wishes for Billy and his back issue. It is improving. He still has days that it's really bad. And if you've ever had back pain, you know that if your back is out, your whole body is just shot. I mean, you can't function because that's your support system. But he is a trooper, and he tries to push through the pain, and he's getting there. So thank you, and we appreciate it. Now I'm going to swirl. I'm just going to swirl gently, not anything crazy or major. I don't want to muddle it. I just want to make some pretty little swirls. I don't know if you can see it, but that purple is trying to follow my stick. Okay, so there we go. That's it. And we're going to come back in 24 hours and pop it out and see if there are any micro bubbles and see what we have. So I'll see you in 24 hours. Okay, so we're back and we're going to unmold and see what we got. So here we go. Well, it unmolds easily. Yep. And there's this side. That's the back. And here's the reveal. Oh, there's the front. All the white came through. And the colors kind of muddled together. So not sure I like it, but my main thing was bubbles. So let's look in the clear spots. I see absolutely no bubbles. I don't know if you can see right there. No bubbles. But I am not digging the front. But that's okay. Not every one I do I like. I don't hate it, but I'd much rather have more color, and this one kind of all went pink and white. I think I might like that side better. But anyway, there's the finished product. So my review, this baking pan is awesome. You can see how shiny it is. The metal frame makes it hold up, and it's very easy to pop out. It's a Trends Home I got on Amazon, and I'll post the link. And as far as the resin, Liquid Diamonds casting resin, 2-to-1. Seems to work great. No bubbles. I can't see any bubbles whatsoever. Maybe a little pricey. It comes out to about 68 cents per ounce, I think, which may be not too pricey, but I'll check around and see and try some different ones and see if I can find one that's cheaper. But as of now, we have a win. So we're good, and that's all for today. Later, Tater.